The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selina MacKenzie.
Now, our final guest today recounts one woman's journey from gritty 1970s Brooklyn to testosterone-fueled 1980s and 90s Wall Street and beyond to reclaim truth, identity and self-worth after trauma. Welcome to the show, Joanne Redding.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So are we talking about you then?
Yes, we are.
Tell us more. Where did this all begin?
I grew up in Brooklyn, as you mentioned. My father died by suicide when I was 6.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we were left with my mother, who was emotionally absent. She was someone who suffered with a couple of different mental illnesses and really was just a non-existent parent. So I learned early on to sort of pretend and play the role and act as though everything was okay, and constructed this case around myself pretty much, which allowed me to then make it through life pretty well and end up on Wall Street, where, as you can imagine, back in the day, being a woman bond trader, it was a raucous and unwelcoming environment for women, shall we say. So I was well prepared to handle all of the abuse and craziness and chaos that existed there. So that worked really well for me for a long time, until I realized that the case that I had constructed around myself was so well constructed that I really wasn't allowing anybody to see the true me and to really find my real voice and be a person who could be myself and not spend my life trying to hide the shame and grief and neglect that I had been so used to having for so many years.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it's a male-dominated world, and there's one thing having the barriers up at work, but if then that leaks into your personal life, it's, like you say, it makes it hard to meet people, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, I've been told in retrospect by people that knew me and have since read my book that they were shocked that I appeared to have everything together, and they really thought I needed no one, which at that point I felt I didn't, because as you can imagine, I had taken care of myself for so long. I mean, about a few days after my father passed away, the nail in the coffin, not to make a pun here, was that my mother sat me down and told me that I'd just have to take care of myself from then on. And she really meant it. That's
sad. Was it just you, or did you have any siblings?
I had 2 siblings. My brother passed away as well by suicide as well, years later. It was we all kind of tried to cope in our own ways, but it's tough when you're a little kid and you have no room for grief. I mean, after my father passed, my mother acted though he never existed. So we weren't allowed to talk about him or anything.
They say, don't they, what kills you makes you stronger, but it's not always a good thing, because you must have been carrying this round with you all your childhood and into your adult life.
It certainly isn't how I would have chosen to grow up, for sure. But I have to say the resilience, the capacity for empathy I've developed, and the ability to, after, probably a decade or two, actually forgive my parents has helped me, I hope, become a better person. And I definitely understand that it would be a better world if people were more compassionate and empathetic and just tried to see if they thought somebody was struggling to actually reach out and lend a hand, instead of kind of trying to be I don't really want to deal with that person,
Was there nobody to help you as a child? No school, no social services, nobody helped?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Nobody did, again, because we learned so well to pretend that we were okay. We were dressed and we were clean. And my mother had the capacity, when we were outside of our apartment, to be charming. She was very smart, but it was a facade. We all had this shell. And yes, I clearly constructed mine better than my brother did, unfortunately. But we all learned what to do on the outside, so people thought we were okay. I had lunch with my aunt, my mother's sister, years later, and my sibling and I were telling stories that we thought were funny about how the awful things that happened to us as kids. And it was really shocking to have her tell us that she had no idea whatsoever that we were living like that. And had she known, she would have intervened. But back then, nobody did.
I can understand now why the title of the book.
Yes.
House of Pretend. When you
seem like the only fitting one.
It does. It's perfect. When you said you learned to forgive your parents, which I think is amazing, did you have to go to therapy for that?
I did get some therapy. I got some trauma therapy. I really didn't realize how bad my childhood was until there's a psychological test called the ACE test. It's Adverse Childhood Experience Test. And I was told I scored in the top 1%, which is not a good thing. It's not the test you want to score high on. So I think that, and I think also, honestly, just living my own life and having kids of my own and suffering setbacks of my own, made me realize how awful it must have been, for my father to have my mother be the person he was perhaps trying to communicate with about his struggles, because she really just was not available for that at all. And I think back in the day also, just getting therapy, talking about mental health wasn't done. Everybody was ashamed.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit different, thank goodness.
Yes, thank goodness for that. Now, I don't know if this was when you were at Wall Street, but at one point your boss offered you $1 million to have his child. Crikey.
Yes, he did. That was Wall Street. Yeah, that was back in the day when you could expense strip clubs on your expense accounts. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Did you do it?
I said no.
Oh, okay. I had to ask.
And I lost my job afterwards, of course.
No,
right?
That's shocking. That's shocking. Couldn't he just have a child the normal way?
Apparently not. I don't know. There's a lot of strange things happened back then. But, it also, that honestly made me realize how I must somehow appear to be giving off the scent of, a damaged person who would accept scraps. And that definitely helped me think about the persona that I had created for myself and how I needed to change to actually allow myself to have, a healthy, normal relationship as opposed to relationships that seem to be coming my way.
And did the change and transformation come when you left Wall Street?
No, I was still on Wall Street when I changed myself from being unavailable to trying to be available and to letting people see the damaged parts inside of me, which I had held quiet for so long. You're afraid that, or certainly I was afraid that if I opened myself up a little bit and people realized that there were parts in me that were so full of shame and guilt, that they'd turn away. But I realized I don't have anybody anyway, so I might as well give it a shot. And it turned out, as we learn, everyone has damaged parts, and people are often grateful for the opportunity to expose them without judgment to somebody else.
So what did you do? You did eventually leave. I think, was it 15 years you were there?
I did. I was there for 15 years. I got married when I was there and had 2 children, and I really, really wanted to be a mother different from mine, and I wanted to spend time with my children when they were little, so I quit, which shocked everybody, honestly. How could you quit?
Yeah, and it must have been strange for you to go from such a high-stress job to suddenly not.
It was definitely a change in energy during the day, but I have to say I have absolutely no regrets for having done it. It was the best thing I did in my life. My kids are wonderful human beings, and I am so fortunate to be their mom.
And do you work now, Joanne?
I do. I have a landscape design company that I started, when I had the children, quit the job, moved to the suburbs, pretty much the usual route a lot of people take. But I did embrace landscaping. So it's a very different kind of job. It's one that leaves people happy when I'm done with my work, and it makes me happy. So yes, I run my own company. For a while, I was a real estate agent as well. And I just, as you know, have this book coming out. So.
Yes. Is it your first one?
It is. And it's published today. So it's a big day for me.
Congratulations. Well, for our listeners, it's called House of Pretend, a memoir. We're selling it right now on our website, TRE.radio, and it's by author Joanne Redding. That must seem strange, calling you an author.
It does. It does. I have to say my 6-year-old self, I think, would be very proud of me today.
Quite right. And do you have a website as well, Joanne?
I do. It's www.joannereddingauthor.com.
Great stuff. Well, congratulations, and let us know when the next one's out.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.